Sounding alarms about artificial intelligence has become a popular pastime in the ChatGPT era, taken up by high-profile figures like Elon Musk. But it's the concerns from insiders in the AI research community that are attracting particular attention.
What I want to talk about is the existential threat that these things will get to be much smarter than us and will take over. They'll take control.
Those are some pretty bold claims from a pioneering researcher and the so-called Godfather of AI. Geoffrey Hinton says he quit his role at Google this week so he could speak more freely about the dangers of the technology he helped create. Over his decades-long career, Hinton's pioneering work on deep learning and neural networks helped lay the foundation for much of the AI technology we see today.
I recently came to the conclusion that the kind of digital intelligence that's being developed for these chatbots is very different from the kind of biological intelligence we have.
There's been a number of forays into artificial intelligence in recent months. OpenAI, the Microsoft-backed company behind ChatGPT, rolled out its latest artificial intelligence model in March. Other tech giants have invested in competing tools, including Google's Bard.
The machines are taking over!
Hinton says he retired from Google so that he could speak openly about the potential risks as someone who no longer works for the tech giant. He pointed to bad actors that may use AI in ways that could have detrimental impacts on society, such as manipulating elections or instigating violence.
If it gets to be much smarter than us, it'll be very good at manipulation because it will have learned that from us. And there are very few examples of a more intelligent thing being controlled by a less intelligent thing. And it knows how to program, so it'll figure out ways of getting around restrictions we put on it. It'll figure out ways of manipulating people to do what it wants.
But since announcing his departure, Hinton has maintained that Google has acted very responsibly when it comes to AI. Hinton is not the only tech leader to speak out with concerns. A number of members of the community signed a letter in March calling for artificial intelligence labs to stop the training of the most powerful AI systems for at least 6 months, citing profound risks to society and humanity.
Okay, look at Jokester here.
Joining us now to break down more of this AI tug-of-war is tech expert and managing editor of Android Central, Shruti Shekar. Shruti, why do you think so many pioneers of the artificial intelligence field are speaking out against it?
I don't necessarily think that they are speaking out against it, but rather just providing more context into understanding this technology and not getting too excited about it. Obviously, right now we're seeing this heightened excitement around artificial intelligence. We're seeing more use case scenarios with ChatGPT and what Microsoft and Google are doing. And so we are seeing this evolution of artificial intelligence and how cool it can be. However, I think these researchers are just putting sort of a forewarning to say there's still so much development that's being put into it. We're still doing a lot of research into it. And I don't necessarily think that they're saying don't do it. I just think that they're saying, let's take a step back, let's analyze what we're doing, and let's try to approach this in the most appropriate way so that when we fully take on artificial intelligence, it doesn't break down or doesn't cause havoc in a way that we don't want it to.
So would you say the general concerns around AI are valid, or are we overhyping the possibilities of this technology?
So I think there are some concerns that I think are valid. For example, when it comes to biases that comes with artificial intelligence, I think that's an absolute major concern. One of the ways that artificial intelligence is basically taught, you're essentially teaching machines how to function. And in order to do that, you're inputting language, you're inputting information and research for that machine to understand. And so those biases occur when you only input a certain type of information instead of all the information that's present. Where I think that there are sort of some invalid concerns is this idea that artificial intelligence will start to have a mind of its own. That will never happen. I think that is a concern that people have because, we we see these possibilities of, artificial intelligence, or even, these chatbots talking to us in a very human-like way. But that's only because we've allowed it to have that possibility. We've given that input. We've given those, hundreds and thousands of strings of sentences and context to this machine to be able to speak that way back to us.
Now, despite it seeming like AI is something new, it's actually been around for decades and is used in our everyday life. Can you tell our viewers about some of the technologies making our lives easier that use artificial intelligence?
Absolutely. And I think the reason why people don't necessarily think that it's been around for so many years is because we've been putting that language and we've been putting that information in, for all the decades that we've been studying it for. That's what we've been doing. And now we finally have tangible experiences to be like, oh, this is what artificial intelligence can do. And it's as simple as having something like a voice assisted speaker in your home, like an Amazon or a Google, where you're able to sort of ask it a question and it comes back to you with a response. That actually uses a form of artificial intelligence. It might not necessarily be as advanced as we think it could be, but that is a very early days example of something like that. Or even something as simple as a vacuum robot. I'm sure a lot of people have an iRobot in their home that, kind of is able to go around their home and vacuum it. It's because you've actually inputted information into this robot to be able to go into your home and not knock into things, and is able to understand. And that's again, using a form of artificial intelligence to be able to function that robot in the way that it does.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.